Tonight, you're about to hear one of the strangest mysteries ever recorded. A man who woke up speaking a language no expert could identify, and then vanished without a trace. This is the impossible language case, and it will challenge everything you think you know about communication, memory, and our place in the universe. It all started on a quiet Tuesday morning. 32-year-old Daniel Morris, an ordinary software engineer, woke up next to his wife, but when he tried to say good morning, something was terribly wrong. He couldn't speak a single word of English. Instead, what came out was a rapid, rhythmic, almost musical stream of sounds that his wife later described as utterly alien. She said it didn't sound human. Panicked, she called for help, but no one could understand him. He was trapped inside his own mind, speaking a language that seemingly didn't exist. Doctors were baffled. He showed no signs of a stroke or any known neurological condition. He was perfectly healthy, except for the fact that his native tongue had been completely replaced overnight by this bizarre unknown dialect. The medical community had no answers, so they turned to the world of linguistics, hoping someone could crack the code. Recordings of Daniel's speech were sent to linguists at 3 major universities. These were experts in historical languages, modern dialects, and even constructed languages like Klingon or Elvish. They spent weeks analyzing the audio, breaking it down into phonemes, studying its syntax, and searching for any recognizable patterns. But here's the disturbing part. It didn't match any known human language. It wasn't ancient Sumerian. It wasn't a lost tribal dialect from the Amazon. It wasn't even a coded message. It had a complex structure, consistent grammatical rules, and recurring patterns, which meant it was a real, functional language. But there was no translation. It was like listening to a conversation from another world. The linguists concluded that, based on all available human records, the language Daniel Morris was speaking should not exist. If you've ever heard of a case even remotely similar to this, drop it in the comments. I want to hear your theories, because this is where the mystery only deepens. Unable to speak with anyone, Daniel grew frustrated. A few weeks into the ordeal, he started writing. At first it was a few scribbles, but soon he was filling notebooks, pages and pages of intricate symbols. These weren't letters from any alphabet we know. They were a complex system of spirals, interlocking geometric shapes, and long flowing lines that repeated in strange mathematical sequences. Cryptographers and symbology experts were brought in to examine his writings. Their conclusion was even more chilling than the linguists. They said it looked like a terrifyingly intelligent mix between an unknown, highly advanced alphabet and a celestial star map. Some of the patterns seemed to mirror constellations, but not as they appear from Earth. It was as if he were drawing the sky from a completely different point in the galaxy. He would spend hours, sometimes days, just writing, completely absorbed in his work, shutting out the world that could no longer understand him. As the weeks turned into months, Daniel's behavior began to change dramatically. He became withdrawn and intensely paranoid, constantly looking over his shoulder as if he were being watched. He would whisper to himself in a strange language, his eyes darting around the room. His wife reported that he would wake up in the middle of the night, staring at the ceiling, humming the strange, melodic tones of his new tongue. He managed to communicate with her through simple gestures, and one day he tried to explain what was happening. He pointed to his head, then to the sky. He shook his head no when she asked if he had learned this language. Then he nodded, with a look of profound realization, and gestured as if he were pulling a memory from deep within himself. He was trying to tell her that this language wasn't something new. It was something he was remembering, something that had been dormant inside him his entire life, now awakened. Then came the night he disappeared. It was a cold, moonless evening. According to his wife, Daniel suddenly stood up from his desk, where he had been writing for hours. He looked at her with an expression she described as both peaceful and resolved. He walked to the front door, barefoot, carrying only his latest notebook. He didn't say goodbye. He just hummed a quiet rhythmic tune in the impossible language. The last time she saw him, he was walking calmly toward the dense woods behind their home. A neighbor's security camera captured a grainy, fleeting image of a silhouette walking steadily into the tree line, just before midnight. In the chilling footage, you can almost hear the faint, melodic humming carried on the wind. Police launched a massive search, using dogs, helicopters, and thermal imaging. They combed every inch of that forest, but he was never seen again. For 2 weeks there was nothing. No clues, no sightings, no trace of Daniel Morris. The case was going cold. Then, a pair of hikers, miles from Daniel's home, found his notebook tucked beneath the roots of a massive, fallen tree. It was damp but mostly intact. The pages were filled with the same unreadable symbols and star charts. The police flipped through it, hoping for an answer, a location, anything. They found nothing until they reached the very last page. On it there was a single sentence, written in the same unknown language. But this time, something was different. Using the patterns they had previously analyzed, cryptographers were able to make a loose conceptual translation. It was more of an interpretation of the feeling behind the symbols than a direct word-for-word translation. The sentence read, "I remember where I belong." After that, the trail went completely dead. No body was ever found, no tracks led away from the spot, no signs of a struggle. It was as if he had simply stepped out of our world. So what happened to Daniel Morris? Was this a rare, undocumented neurological disorder that created a new language in his brain? Or was it something more? A case of xenoglossy, a past life memory bubbling to the surface from a time and place far from our own? Could it have been contact with something we don't understand, an intelligence that rewrote his mind? Or was he, as he seemed to believe, simply remembering a language not meant for this world, a call to return home? The case remains unsolved, a haunting testament to a man who spoke an impossible language and walked into the unknown. Tell me your theory in the comments. And if you want more mysteries that challenge reality, subscribe for new videos every day. Thanks for watching.